Commissioner Patricia Ross has dedicated her career to serving our veterans by building an extensive and admirable track record over the years. Her commitment to serving others, both in the community and through her service to our country, is no coincidence, as it has been a fundamental part of her family since childhood. She has set an example through her work and continues to impact the lives of many. After 25 years on active duty in the United States Air Force, Ross retired as a colonel in October of 2014. Please join me in welcoming our very special guest, Commissioner Patricia Ross, to the stage. Thank you, Commissioner Ross, for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Deborah. It is definitely my honor to be here. I look out among this crowd, and I'm not sure I'm the one who should be in this seat. I think there's pretty much every other woman, to include yourself, should be here on the podium speaking. What an amazing group. Y'all look gorgeous. Can I just say that?
Y'all looking good,
Y'all
aren't
are
they?
a fine-looking group. And I am so proud to be here and part of our women veterans crew. So thank you, Deborah. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I will let you all know that today's event is being recorded to be rebroadcast. I have a select group of questions for our guests, and then we will open up the floor so that you can ask questions. So get your questions ready. We will have time for that. Now, let's start with service has played an important role in your life, and it is an integral part of your community and our part of our community and society. Tell us how being of service has impacted your life and how it can change others.
Well, thank you for that. I think it's important to note where we are today. Think about the Carter's legacy, their legacy of service, not just in the White House, but everything that they have done. As you mentioned, I come from a family where service was kind of ingrained in who we were. I'm a fourth generation military member. Everybody from my husband, father-in-law, to my dad, my grandfather, you name it, has served in the military. So service was ingrained in who we are. In addition, I come from a line of teachers. And so if you think only the military serve, of course, we know many of those in the classroom, they are thankless servants as well. How I think service has played a big part in my life is I don't know that I could do anything different. I really don't believe I could. I mean, I transitioned from military service to serving our veterans for a variety of reasons. And without service, without serving others, I think it's too easy to become insular and to start focusing on ourselves. And when we start focusing on ourselves, what happens? Well, we were talking about it. Oh, I'm having some health issues. Oh, I'm not feeling so great. Or, maybe I don't have the job I've always wanted, or maybe I'm struggling in my relationships. And when you start focusing on everything that is you, everything that is in your little sphere of yourself, you can become depressed. You can have other mental behavioral health struggles. You can struggle physically. We all talked about, mind, body, spirit, or soul. I mean, it is all connected. When you look outward and start to focus on others and start to help others, it uplifts you. I mean, there's not a day that goes by where I don't look forward to going into the office, look forward to helping our veterans. I mean, it is why I get up in the morning. And I hope it's why I get up every morning from this day forward. But service is just who I am.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk a little bit about State Veterans Service Board. Can you tell us the purpose of the organization and in what ways do they support women veterans?
Okay, so our State Veterans Service Board is made up of 7 individuals, and they are our governing board. So they're the ones who, for Georgia Department of Veterans Service, your state organization that's your advocate, veterans advocate, to the VA for benefits. I know if you went to our table, you know we have a couple of skilled nursing homes as well as state veteran cemeteries. But they inform our policies and procedures, and quite honestly, they're our biggest advocates. And so I know when we first got our women veteran coordinator, who's sitting over here, Miss Vita Brooks, without the support of our governing board, that would never have happened. And we are so blessed to have Vita and the whole team, who are all at this table. This is just a portion of our team, to be able to each and every day help support our women veterans. Because if you haven't realized, and if Kathleen O'Loughlin hasn't told you from the VA, we have not just the fastest growing women veteran population in Georgia, we have the largest women veteran population in the nation. So there has to be a focus on women veterans because we're here. And we are showing up in droves, and many of us are coming to the Atlanta area. And so I just thank the Veteran Service Board and then all of you who help support our women veterans.
Thank you. Yes, the fact that we do have the largest amount of women veterans here in the state of Georgia, can you talk about some of the challenges the Georgia women veterans are facing today?
Absolutely, and I'm going to look because I think many of you can speak on these challenges. So women veterans, and I know it depends on your era of service in some cases, but in many cases not, right? I was with a group with the Women Veterans Network called Woven. There was a group of about a dozen of us. We were all from different branches of the service. We all served at different times. We were at different ages. And when we started talking amongst ourselves, we found we had more in common than we had different. And that included military sexual trauma, sexual harassment. I mean, just the challenges that we faced in our military service. So that is something that a lot more women, of course, bring to the civilian workforce, or whenever we transition out of the military, that is now part of who we are. And we have to decide what we do with all of that. So that is one of the challenges for women veterans. In addition, I mean, I know my friend Dr. Amy Stevens has said this many times, but for those of us who may be a little bit older, before they had women uniforms, before they had things designed for the women's body, in many cases, our bodies now are struggling as we age because of the equipment we had to wear. Was not designed for us. So those are some of the physical aspects that, of course, our women veterans struggle with once they leave the service. And we also know that our women veterans are twice as likely to be homeless than their male veteran counterparts. They're more likely to attempt and commit suicide, especially by lethal means. And I know we've got a whole group that I know we'll talk about in a minute that is working to get ahead of that issues. So all of those challenges are what many of our women veterans face. But here's where I want to kind of segue. So I had this discussion with a retired general officer who had gone in front of a Chamber of Commerce meeting and had a similar conversation to one that I had after I got out of the military. I was standing in front of this group just as he was standing in front of a group, and invariably somebody in the audience said, well, why would we hire veterans? Because they all have PTS, or they all have these physical struggles or mental behavioral health issues. And he, like I, is like, wait a second. You know, there's a continuum, right? Not all of us are completely broken. Not all of us are the superhero. But we have learned to adapt and to adjust and to grow. And so instead of focusing on everybody having post-traumatic stress, which, if you read the news, you think we're all suffering from it. Why doesn't anybody talk about post-traumatic growth, which is more than resiliency, right? So it's not just that being able to bounce back to where you are before. It's about you being stronger because of what you've been through. And I'm looking at all of you amazing people, all of you amazing women, and I know we have a few guys in the crowd. But I will tell you, I'm stronger from what I went through. And I know many of us can say the same thing. And so, yeah, it's...
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask a question of the audience. So how many women in the room, or there are a few men, so I'm not going to leave you out, are not veterans? Raise your hand. Thank you. Now, what I want to ask is what kind of advocacy needs to be done? And all of us who are not veterans, how can we go about supporting the changes that need to happen?
I would say first, be there for our women veterans. We know that social connections, having that social support is key, right? Especially as you transition out of the military, being able to land somewhere where you feel connected and where you feel you belong. And that comes from other women, right? You don't necessarily have to have served in the military, but that comes from other women. I would tell you, encourage our younger generations. I am so excited when I go out to various events and we have junior ROTC or ROTC cadets, because the majority of the time, at least half of them are women. I like to say the future is female, and it is in the military. And so more women are joining up, and you can see just the strength that these young ladies have, and evidently the encouragement they have gotten from family, from friends, from maybe other women who have served, to encourage them to go into the military. So, probably shouldn't share this, but I will anyway.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So I had a Veterans Day talk, and this was quite a few years ago, and it was on my heart, as is anything when I speak. I try to speak from the heart. And I started talking about some of the struggles, sexual trauma, harassment, all of these things I experienced in the military. Like, they're never going to invite me back. I was crying, and I don't cry. But my last statement was, I have a young daughter. I would encourage her to join the military. And I would say, encourage our women, our girls, to join the military. Because where else can you have a pathway. You know what you need to do to progress up the ranks. And while some of those things happen, and I realize for some of our younger veterans, they may not have experienced some of the same things we did, but I got to be a colonel, which I never would have thought of. Angela, I don't know if you ever dreamed that you would be a colonel, because I knew what to do, and it was equitable, right? I knew the steps I needed to take in the military to achieve certain ranks. I knew what positions I needed to take. And a lot of this, of course, is God moving in my life versus me making the decisions myself. But I would say encourage more women to join the military.
Okay. I think this is a senior group, so I don't know if anyone in this room, but your young people at home, we want you to encourage them to join the military. I like that. So now, as a veteran, a female veteran, servant leader, and advocate, how do you propose improvements for Georgia's women veterans' experience as we're talking about recruiting those younger women?
I think there's a lot we need to do as a state, and I'm so glad my team is here to help with this, because they're the ones who do all the hard work. There's a lot that needs to be done here within Georgia and nationally, but just because we have such a large population. Again, that social connectedness. We also have suicide prevention, and I know we'll talk about mental and behavioral health in a minute, but suicide prevention and reaching those women before they decide that there is no other way and they get that tunnel vision where they think that their only choice is to take their life, getting in front of that to make a difference, and we can make a difference, to fighting homelessness. We were blessed as a department, providing the governor signs the budget. We're going to get a homeless veteran coordinator, and we know that homeless veteran coordinator is going to spend a lot of their time focusing on homeless women who may not be the ones you see in the tents on the side of the street, right? They may be the ones that are couch surfing or, staying with friends, families, a week here, a week there. But they also have some additional challenges in that many of them are single moms and have kids, which makes it even more difficult for those of you who have ever dealt with homelessness and shelters about where they stay. And so we're starting to have dialogues, not just with the VA, and I know we have a meeting coming up, but with the city of Atlanta, and then trying to get those concentric circles to cover the rest of the state to really focus on preventing homelessness. And so that's where I think it will take all of us with that concentrated focus, because we can all, one, be that person that an individual, that a woman veteran can call if they are at their lowest low, to help show them that there is an alternative. And we can also help be part of the change to ensure that our women veterans have stabilized housing. Affordable housing is a big issue, and that we work with more of the landlords collectively to ensure that our women veterans and their kids and their families have a safe place to live.
Partnerships. We're talking about partnerships.
Absolutely.
That's why AARP is sitting here today talking with the commissioner. Partnerships. Now, I do want to talk about mental health. So there continues to be a dialogue surrounding mental health, and it's almost, you hear more about it since COVID. More and more of the dialogue. How is mental health being addressed in terms of awareness, diagnosis, treatment, and recovery?
Okay, so let me talk about the awareness. So as a department, of course, we have our suicide prevention and outreach coordinator. I'm going to call out Calandra Ferguson. Wave your hand. She has a team. Some of them are at that table too. So going out and just educating folks, training folks. What are the signs to look for? How do you ask the question? How do you have those very difficult conversations? And then how do you connect our women veterans to resources? Not only just women veterans, but their family members, their caretakers, to resources so that they no longer see only one solution. So that stand-up of that office, which has been almost 2 years now, has been vitally important. She screened over 5,000 veterans last year alone for suicide ideations. And we're doing that in all of our offices. We're doing it in all of our outreach events. It's a quick code that you take a survey, and then we get them connected to the VA. We get them connected to our state partners in DBHDD, so the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, and I always say that wrong, but DBHDD has a lot of local partnerships at the state level. And then I'm excited to say the General Assembly now has funded us for this year, and then for next year, they've given us a grant, and we are simply a pass-through. We keep none of the money ourselves. That is going to organizations that provide clinical services for military, veterans, and their family members.
Really important.
Yeah, very important. And so these are in communities here in Georgia. Many of them, I know the ones we had funded the first year, have telehealth options. And so getting funding from the state specifically for our population to be able to receive those mental and behavioral health services and help reduce that stigma. So like I said, they also cover military, and I know all of those of us who are in the military were told never go to mental health, right? Even if you're having the worst day of your life, don't go to mental health, it'll ruin your career. Well, that is no longer the case in these organizations that we're funding through this grant can see those people without it impacting their careers. And so we're very excited about kind of that whole continuum of education and training through to clinical services to make sure folks get the care that they need, being able to do that as a department. So that's new for
huge.
us.
That's great. And that lead right directly into my next question was what the future holds. Do you foresee any very specific kind of plans, or do you have specific ideas that you would like to see incorporated on mental health in the future?
Yeah, my team knows I always have plans, right? I'd like to see it grow.
I knew she was going to
Yeah,
have some.
they're tired. It needs to grow. So $1 million is what the state General Assembly has given us and the governor for FY24, and it looks like $1 million we're hoping is going to be in our baseline budget for every year. But it does need to grow, because right now that funded 2 different organizations, and 2 organizations isn't enough, especially with the number of veterans we have coming to this state. And again, our veterans don't always fit the parameters of like our DBHDD, our state providers, which is income-based. Granted, many of them now, with all of the expansion with VA healthcare, may be able to be seen in the VA. It's just convincing folks that the VA of today is much different than it was, even 5 years ago, right? So I think we need to do more, like you said, especially coming out of COVID. I think we all realized one of the main indicators of somebody having mental health issues is that social isolation and that loneliness factor, which we can now track as a state for our veteran household through a program we've got that kind of gives us insights into what's happening throughout the state. So being able to do more, and again, destigmatize it so that when folks need help, they know to ask for help and not just wait until it's so bad that, again, they think there's only way out, because there's never only one way out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my next question is there a 24-25 initiative or action that will yield positive improvements for the lives of the nearly 93,000 female veterans who reside in Georgia? 93,000.
Yep. We'll hit 100 soon. I have no doubt. So the big thing that we had in our strategic plan, and it does look like it'll be funded starting July, is that homeless coordinator. And so I think that truly will impact a lot of our women veterans, especially those coming to the state who may not be able to find employment immediately. But there are other initiatives we're taking. So we've got an outreach team that kind of collectively does a whole bunch of things to include helping our women veterans, as well as, again, mental behavioral health. The homeless coordinator will be part of that team. But we're also starting to work cross-state agencies. And I know that hasn't necessarily been something that my predecessors have done, but working with our workforce boards. So getting more into the employment side of things, because it's a lot easier to transition and be successful if you've got a good paying job and you're not worrying about whether you've got a roof over your head, whether you can feed your kids. That alleviates so much stress. And then not only working with our workforce partners here in the state, but just trying to cross collaborate. So I am now, it did pass, on the Behavioral Health Council for the state. And my position was never on that. And why somebody would think you wouldn't want somebody from veteran service from the state on the Behavioral Health Council. And so that's going to be a big inroads for us to have a seat at the table to be able to talk veteran-specific issues. And because of our large women veteran population, those issues. I'm trying to think. I'm always working something.
Well, you think on that a minute, and tell me if you can elaborate a little bit more on jobs for veterans.
So we have partnered with a company called Bridge My Return for free, because we don't have a whole lot of funding. And they're able to, whether it's a military member, their spouse, or their adult children, able to do a cross match, not just of military skills, but soft skills, and create a resume. And then they've built this pretty substantial database of employers who are wanting to hire military individuals, whether they be veterans or the family members. And so we're excited about kind of adding this employment piece to what we do. Additionally, and I know Ms. Shelley Ann Simpson, who's our executive director over field ops and appeals. By the time I get done, I'll introduce this whole table. But so yes, she's the big boss over field ops and appeals. But we've actually embedded some of our offices as part of the transition programs. So we are outside of Robins Air Force Base, so most folks know that if you know where I came from. But we're now on Fort Moore and we're on Fort Stewart because we want to catch those folks not just for claims and benefits purposes, but we also have an electronic referral system that can get folks to employment or can get other social needs met by using this platform called Unitas. And the state has paid for us to use it for free. And nonprofits can join for free and become, one of the organizations that either refer to us or we refer to them. And so growing out this network, especially since I will tell you the top two things that showed up this last week when I looked at the numbers is housing instability, rental, mortgage assistance, and financial instability. That is what folks coming into our office are being referred out for. So the more partners we have, especially as we have this growing population of women veterans who, we're tough, right? We're not going to ask for help until we are in dire need of help. It has to be a crisis situation before we'll raise our hand and say help. This way we have the partners on board who can help quickly. Because many of these things, when you talk about, grant services or other organizations that may provide housing support, sometimes they just take a really long time just because of the bureaucracy of what they have to deal with. And so we're excited to kind of bring all of this together. And like you said, Deborah, in collaboration with partners to be able to serve our women veterans better.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to also ask about Georgia Veterans Service Foundation. Can you tell us what they do and how they help the women veterans?
They are brand new. So they've been in existence about 6 months. So we now have a foundation board. For those of you who didn't know that, we now have a foundation board. We have 7 individuals that sit on the foundation. I will tell you their priorities, as you can imagine: mental and behavioral health, homelessness. Because they are so new, we haven't raised a lot of funds yet, but they are sponsoring a legislative breakfast. So if we'll get the information out, we're working it now, confirming some speakers. We do have 2 confirmed. But on April 29th, it'll be held at the Metro Atlanta Chamber. It will be free. So I don't know how many of you know Chef Tiffany Moore? Army veteran? Yeah, she's amazing, isn't she? Right? She is catering the breakfast, so it's delicious. But we'll have both chairs from the State House and the State Senate talking about veteran legislation and what we're doing at the state level. To about 100 people is what we can fit up there in the Metro Atlanta Chamber. And then all we would ask for is donations. So whatever somebody could give if they attend the breakfast, that would be fantastic. If you can't, that's fine too. But we're hoping to raise funds for the foundation to be able to do more in this space and to ideally sub-grant out to organizations that are already boots on the ground and doing wonderful things, but may be able to do more wonderful things if they just had some additional resources. Because our team is small. We don't have the staff necessarily to take individual grant applications. And so we're really excited about having this mechanism of a foundation to better support our women veterans and our veterans across Georgia.
Well, thank you for sharing that information. Now I want you to get your questions ready. And there is going to be a microphone in the floor. Someone's going to assist me. while I ask my final question, you get your questions ready. So, my last question is, what is the legacy you want to leave for the women coming behind you?
The, I would say the legacy is that we can do it. This job is not about me, it's about our veterans. But I do realize, and I know we have, you know, limited examples here in the state of Georgia, seeing that I'm only the third commissioner in about 75 years, right? There are only two before me, but that we can do it. Across the nation, to include the 5 territories, there are 8 of us that are women directors or commissioners of veteran service. And so the legacy I would like to leave is letting other women veterans know that this is a possibility. We need to be seen, we need to be heard, we need to lead. And not about me, but about everybody behind me, that we need to keep serving those that have served us in uniform.
I love that. Let's give her a hand, please. Thank you. So the floor is open. We have a microphone to my left. And so, please.
I still wear my t-shirt, and I know I owe you a picture.
Good morning, ladies. My name is Tiffany Williams. I'm the branding manager for Georgia Military Women, where Amy Stevens is our founder. I am also the brand ambassador for Atlanta Black Chambers Veteran Entrepreneurship Group. And I'm an Army veteran. So my question is, and I reached out to a friend of mine, I'm not gonna call her out, but I wanted to know, what is the department doing for entrepreneurs, veteran entrepreneurs? And I found out not much. So how can I get involved? How can I change that?
Okay, so we do connect you. Mm-hmm. So our department does not have entrepreneurship under our job jar, so to speak. But I will tell you, I'm very close with the Veteran Business Outreach Center. So if you've never heard of VBOC, they're based out of Warner Robins, the Vector Center, where I came from. And they do a great job in training and helping veteran entrepreneurs. In addition, we've got the Women Business Centers. I'm connected to the Small Business Development Centers that are run by the University of Georgia. And so I know I have a lot of connections, but I will admit, Tiffany, we as a department aren't doing much for entrepreneurship because that now falls under the technical college system.
Okay, because I know you talked about financial freedom, and I do think that entrepreneurship is one of the ways to financial freedom. So maybe if we could integrate it a little bit, I know it's not under your umbrella, but if we could do a little bit more. That's my suggestion.
Okay, Tiffany, I agree, and we will work on it.
Thank you.
You can hold me accountable. You know how to get me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Nayela Allen, and I serve many hats. I'm a serial entrepreneur, real estate professional, integrative health coach, and most recently the 2024 Veteran Entrepreneurs Group chair of the Atlanta Black Chambers. And every year, also an Army veteran. Thank you. Thank you. Every year we do a veteran summit, and we do it out of the Rice Center. Last year we had a phenomenal turnout of mental health is wealth. It was a vision that I had, and we had a panel of West grad female veterans, and we plan to do it again this year. So my question is centered around entrepreneurship, some of the advocacy work that you have for suicide awareness, something that I have overcome, a challenge of overcoming. Is there a way that we can be in partnership and have somebody there this year for our second year of mental health as wellness? And pretty much how can we become a partner with the Georgia Department of Veteran Services? As an organization, as a group, what are the steps to be an actual partner? And then can we have representation at the event on November 8th at the Rice Center I don't know the time, but save the date.
She put that in the air,
Put
making
it in
sure
the air,
everybody's
November 8th.
taking note. November 8th. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
so that's my question.
And the answer is yes. You just come talk to us. You just did. And I know Fergie right there is waving her card going, I'll be there, I'll be there. Because I know she will be there. We have a tremendous team. And I am very blessed with everybody that, I mean, all of these ladies right here, whatever the issue is, we all pitch in and make it happen, whether it's our job or not. And I very clearly got the entrepreneurship. I think Tiffany must have planted some seeds around the room, but happy to be there for the mental health and wellness. And then Fergie, or Calandra Ferguson officially,
Yes, and
her
I would
given name,
thank
we
you.
would love to be there.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. And just to piggyback off of that, entrepreneurship empowers somebody to take ownership of their life, right? So it's helped me personally. And so if there is a way that you all can connect or have us connect with the technical colleges and have more of conversations about entrepreneurship, that allows somebody to have something bigger than themselves that we've talked about and help with home stability and mental health awareness and all of those things. So that's my 2 cents, and I'm going to get off.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm
Wow.
worried. What's Connie going to ask me?
Good afternoon, sisters. First, we really want to just give honor to you. I've been there before you became the director, and I've been in the trenches, so I understand what you brought to the table. For those that don't know, I am the second Woman Veteran of the Year. And I know, thank you, that the good things that are coming now are from you and your team. We won't forget the team. What I'm asking is, first, let me make sure I say that the first woman veteran was not voted, nominated. U.S. Today, one of the top 60 women in the United States that's representing Georgia, Dr. Quinn Salazar. Yes, on the national level. So she is a woman veteran in Georgia. So just be sure to get out there and follow that. You have a lot of things on your plate. Is there a way we can find out from your team and from you how we can help and support you? We do a lot in Atlanta, and a lot of times we forget our family in South Georgia. We also, a lot of times, forget our National Guard and reserves. We will do that no longer. So how can we bridge the gap between South Georgia and the Atlanta area, and how can we volunteer so that you can use us to spread the word and to help?
Yeah, we would be happy to have you spread the word. And I will tell you, I know because I'm talking to an Atlanta group, please don't think we are not focused statewide. We have 55 offices, and we cover every county in the state of Georgia. Coming from Central Georgia, having worked down, towards South Georgia, I realize there are challenges for our rural veterans. And that's a reality, but it's one we're trying to fix by doing more outreach events. We can show you our map from last year alone that is, we went everywhere somebody invited us, we were there. And I would ask you, probably the greatest thing y'all could do is help amplify our message, to let folks know who we are, what we do, what we're doing, just so we can get connected to those veterans who may not realize that there's a state agency out there for them.
Yes.
We are paid for by taxpayer dollars, as was said before, but that's truly what we are, is an independent advocate for veterans and their benefits. Now, I will put a caveat out there. We are not healthcare professionals. We let the VA handle the healthcare side, because we do get a lot of questions about VA health, and we work with our VA partners to get folks to the right place. But we would love to have help to amplify the message, to help get the word out broader, stronger, and to let us know if maybe there's an area of the state where we don't have somebody, we are always relooking kind of the demographics of the state to make sure we have our offices in the right place. And we also try and co-locate with the VA whenever possible, because we know that many of us receive our care from the VA, and it's a whole lot easier to go see one of our counselors if you've got that form from your doctor to just get it put in your record. So we do that whenever possible. But I know Charlotte just gave you the card to get us connected and to help spread the word. Thanks, Connie.
Well, I challenge each and every one of you here that are in the rural parts of Georgia, because we're beautiful people, and if you're a peach like me, we're everywhere. And let us know how we can help, because we travel the state. I'm connected, but again,
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know where we are, we're pretty easy to find. Just Google us, but veterans.georgia.gov is our website. And we do produce a monthly newsletter that kind of talks about everything we're doing in the department. We've been doing this for coming on 2 years. So we have a lot of great information. We also publicize if there's anything new with the VA, like the expanded VA healthcare under Section 103. We like to get the word out about our VA partners and everything that's going on in the veteran space. Uh-oh, now Dr. Stevens. This is going to be the really hard question. She's going to give me one that stumps me.
And y'all notice I did have to step up a little bit because I knew I needed that extra little height there. So, yeah, I'm Amy Stevens, Georgia Military Women. Hey, if you're not a member of us yet, there's a QR code on the poster back there, and we're the fun people. So we have lots of events. We've got several events queens. Cassandra Randolph in particular is the lady that sets up a lot of our stuff, so thank you for that. And thank you for all you do. I tell you, the world has changed in Georgia since Kathleen O'Loughlin. Could you wave your hand, please? Because I want people to know who you are. Oh, there she is. She's right over there. Amazing women's program manager for Atlanta. You all need to pray for her. She does have the largest population of women veterans across the United States. It's amazing what she does. And for those of us that have been around for a while, the fact that it was like this. And I used to pray, God, let's bring a few more people so the Atlanta VA has to buy some more cookies for this event, right? Now there's no problem with that. And she has this huge staff that never happened before. And then the relative newcomer, Commissioner Ross. She hadn't been in office very long, but you're seeing what's happening? Wow, this is amazing. And I just want to say thank you for all your innovation and bringing all this stuff on board, because it's so needed with this largest population in the United States. So amazing. So thank you all for that. Thank you. And y'all know I'm a troublemaker. So my hot topic. Sorry I missed your meeting yesterday, but this is what I was going to talk about. So some of you know I'm working with Senator John Ossoff on a bill regarding what's called claim sharks, okay? Nobody, I want you to hear me, nobody should have to pay somebody to help them get what their entitlement is, okay? When you get disability compensation for your service, it is not a gift. You earned it, right? Yep. And there are people, this makes me mad, I'll try to get off the stage fast, because I'm gonna ask her what she's gonna do about it, okay? But
I'll tell you.
She's ready. No, because in case some of you do not know, what is happening is that over time, the disability claim process has changed. And now there's these little cottage industries that are charging, and I know because I put it in our group, how many of you have ever paid somebody to help you, right? And so the thing is, people are paying like $2,500 just to get started, and then they're paying a percentage of their back pay and stuff like that. We are talking big money, okay? And the thing is, you see this table right here, and that lady, that impressive lady up there? They're gonna do it for nothing, okay? So what do you wanna do? Pay thousands and thousands of dollars, and you wanna pay nothing and get the same service, okay? So, you know my topic. I'd like to say,
what are we doing?
better. So we're talking about how do people, anything you'd like to say about the efforts to, with the claim sharks, but also if somebody here wants to be able to get their benefits, a lot of people don't have any clue how many offices there are with veteran services across the state even. So you know, that kind of thing. So if you could educate people on that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
ma'am.
thank you for that. We have well over 100 people that do this each and every day. They are trained to very high standards. So they have to be accredited by the VA. That's probably the biggest takeaway you need to take with you as you leave today. Accredited by the VA, but then we get trained all the time. We typically get a class every 2 weeks. We have a big annual training to make sure we are up on the latest laws. Here's, speaking to Dr. Stevens' comment, we had House Bill 1323 and Senate Bill 451. Neither one of them made it across. We've got the end of the session tomorrow. I don't think they're going to make it. First and foremost, those advisory and consultant firms that are charging veterans to assist them, it's illegal. It's illegal. It's against U.S. Code Title 38. You have to be an accredited agent with the VA to charge money. And I know that there are some lobbyists that have been going around to our members of the General Assembly saying, hey, it should be a free enterprise. Well, the law says it's not. And there's very good reasons, right? You want somebody helping you with your claim that goes through the same steps we do, which is taking very extensive training so we know the law, we know what's right. We have to uphold moral and ethical standards so we're not trying to get something through or, you know, we're not going to lie on the application, things like that, because that'll just get the veteran as well as the person filing the claim in trouble. You need those of us that do this on a day-to-day basis helping you through this process. It's like, how many of you file your own taxes? You get to a point where it gets so complicated, right? You seek assistance. Well, you should do that with your claims too. And as Amy said, you know, we do this at no cost. And we're not the only ones, so every state has an organization like us. All 5 territories has an organization like us to help you file your claims. And again, if you're not VA accredited, which some of these claim sharks, that's what I told our legislators, they can go get accredited by the VA and then they can charge money. But if they don't go through that very rigorous process, it is illegal. And what I saw they tried to put in our legislation this year is they were going to charge you 5 times your increase, which is insane. So you go from 10% to 100%. Guess how much money you're shelling out? To her point, that's your money that you earn based on your disabilities, and you shouldn't have to pay that to anybody else. If folks want to do it, they need to do it legally. So please come see us. We are happy to help you. That is what we do each and every day. We're not volunteers. We are full-time employees that do this 8 hours a day at least, 5 days a week, if not more.
Thank you.
So,
I think this young lady's been standing here in this corner a long time, and I wanted to ask her, do you have a question?
I do have a question. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Kendall Cunningham. I'm a district executive with the Boy Scouts of America, Atlanta Area Council, small little youth organization, if either of you have heard of that. I wanted to come up here and first thank you all for the conversation that's had today. I'm not a veteran. I don't have any connection to the military, but one of my volunteers suggested that I come to this event. With that being said, I would like to pose my question to the both of you. In being in scouting for the 3 years that I've been in it, my mission has been to involve more women into the program. The way that I see the male veterans step in with the youth in our boys troops, and they're able to guide them throughout their entire high school career and make them get to Eagle Scout, and they're able to achieve all of these wonderful things. My question is, how do I engage this demographic of veteran women to do the same for our girls in our girls troop? I think that also leads to the point that you made earlier about getting more young people or young women involved in the service. I think the scouting program is a wonderful pool of prospects that are able. So I would love to know your thoughts on that, both of you, since you have experience with nonprofits as well.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, how many of you have experience in scouting at some point where Brownie, Girl Scout, anything? Ate the cookies, right? All of us. Yeah, that is a great opportunity. And to your point, thank you for bringing that up. all of us are leaders in some capacity. And don't we owe that to our next generation of girls to show them what leadership looks like? I think we do. So that's a great idea. Get involved in scouting. My kids are older now. We did it when they were younger. But yeah, why not? Yeah, let's help get the word out. And I know I'm looking at Amy. She's got the largest group on Facebook with Georgia military women. You need help, let us know.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So for AARP, I'd like for AARP staff to stand up so that you know who they are in the room. So these are the AARP staff that are in the room that are leaders that you need to get to know, as well as the AARP volunteers that are in the room today. Can you stand up? And these individuals do presentations and speak, so you need to grab some of them, exchange cards with them, because that's how we do it. We share what we learn, we take information, and we partner with organizations all across the state. So thank you for asking
Thank you
that
so much.
question. I agree. We have one last question. Oh, I'm sorry. We have 2 questions left. Yes.
I'm Dana Kraft. I'm Executive Director of Feeding Georgia. So my members are the 8 big regional food banks that distribute food through more than 2,000 partner agencies and pantries. Over the last 3 years, we've been trying to work with the military installations here and have run into this culture of self-sufficiency that is sort of part of the military that keep people from asking for help. And food insecurity is a math problem, right? It is, you're not making enough money in order to afford what you need. And we've got lots of food. Georgia farmers donate more than 30 million pounds of produce. We do fresh produce. And so my question is, especially for the veterans, the women with children, how do we get them to ask for help earlier, right? To come to the pantry, come to a pantry distribution. If it's a week before their next check comes and they're worried about feeding their children, how do we do that? And because we have run into this, especially with the, active duty folks, the commanders, they think it's a maturity issue. If you're E1 to E4 with 2 children and you can't make ends meet, they think that somehow they think military dollars spend more magically at Publix. I don't know, but anyway. So anyway, that's my question. I would love to partner with your team, but also just want to hear your thoughts as you've been working with the veterans that are transitioning out and going into the economy. What could we do differently that might make the pantries or make people more willing to ask for help sooner before they reach a point of desperation?
Couple of things on that. Thank you for that. One, we need to partner. Absolutely. I know many of us, especially during COVID, if not afterwards, have worked with many of your partner food pantries to get food to our veteran and military communities. I worked, I don't know how many food drives right outside of Robins Air Force Base where it was active duty and veterans coming to receive food, because we do know that when you're a young enlisted troop and you've got kids and a family to feed, that money is not magical. It doesn't go any further than that little bit of money for any of the rest of us. Would love to help connect you, because we do have some of our larger offices are outside of our military installations, because that's where the majority of our veterans kind of reside. It's either Metro Atlanta or outside of our military installations. So we would love to help connect with our community resources, maybe get you on our platform at no cost to make sure that those folks know that it's available. And I'm going to also put yet another shameless plug out. So as of Monday, this went live, we now have a public resource directory on our website. And so it's all of our partners in this Unite Us system, but instead of coming to us where we do the case management services and put in the information and get you connected, somebody can just go online, put in their zip code and say, hey, I I'm food insecure. I need to find all of the locations within 10 miles of me because maybe transportation's an issue. And it'll pop up an active directory. So it's not a list that somebody called around 5 years ago and we think the numbers may still be right. It's a living list. And that went live Monday. So this is to get all those social services out there. And again, we would love to partner with you to make sure that you're out there and folks know to go to that list and seek help before it becomes the crisis and now they can't afford to feed their family. Come see us. Come get our card.
There's a lot of
here
cards
today-
at this table right
Here
here.
today,
for
it's Miss
information.
Irene Maxon, who is sitting right there. She, any of us, contact any of us. We would love to help you. And so it won't necessarily be us. We'll take your information and we'll pass that to the Unite Us team, and they will contact you to get you on the platform, get you trained as how to use the platform. They've got a whole staff and team that does that for us. So we would love to get you.
So I'm getting
connected.
the time sign, and I see we have 2 questions. If you could just ask your question really quickly, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, Bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Beverly Blanco. It is my honor to serve all of you women veterans with Kathleen O'Laughlin in the Women Veterans Program. Ma'am, what I want to ask you is the body politic. How can we, as veterans, use the political system to move forward your agenda, our agenda of caring for veterans? How does that work?
How does that work? Use your voice. Everybody has your own local legislators, your state representatives, your senators, county commissioners. If there's an issue that needs to be brought up for the broader veteran group, talk to them. And here's what I will tell you. It was amazing to see this. We had a group from Augusta that had an initiative that they really wanted to get through for their veterans. And they came out in droves. They chartered buses, they stormed the Capitol, they met with all of the representatives, and we ended up getting a lot of traction on that issue. Now, was it funded this year? No, but I think it has a good possibility to be funded in the future. So use your voices. That is what your representatives are there for, and make sure we as veterans, we're heard. Very often we kind of fade into the background and aren't maybe as vocal as some of our counterparts. But I will tell you, my experience with Georgia is this is a very veteran-friendly state, although we don't necessarily have all of the policies because a lot of those are local policies versus state policies, as some of our surrounding states who may have some additional benefits that our state may not currently have. So use your voice. So that's a great point, Bill.
And
Thank
we're
you.
taking our last question.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget McCoy. I am the CEO and founder of Women Veterans Social Justice Network and the 2020 Congressional Medal of Honor Society awardee. I travel a lot, so you don't see me as much, but I wanted to piggyback on that legislative conversation. I was going to ask a question so that we could lead into that, but I guess I can add to what you were saying and what you were saying. All of our legislators have military liaisons. And so the best way for us to get bills passed is to reach out to those military liaisons and state that you are interested in supporting those bills. Now, all of the bills that are related to veteran policy, and there's a lot because I just came from DC 2 weeks ago, and they're in different organizations are pushing forward legislation. So it's really good to get on congress.gov and just type in veteran bills and look them up. And you can actually send a letter to your state representative that you're in support of these bills. Now, federally employed women, .org, they have a database that you can just click in and see the bills and respond to them and say that you're supporting those bills. But it's very, very important. When we went to Congress just a couple of weeks ago, there were probably 50 to 75 women veterans in that room. It was a surprise to me because I had never seen that many women go before Congress and be there in support of any one thing. And that's an opportunity for you. Follow what's going on online and show up. And when someone's asking about women veteran or something, just stand up. just let your presence be known. And sometimes they'll just ask you, are you a woman veteran? And you're like, yes, and they'll ask you more questions. So I just want to encourage you, it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to understand policy. You don't have to understand how to write a bill and all those things. But when you call those legislators and you say, I'm a woman veteran, I see you are sitting on a bill right now and you need to support it, because we have 50 or 100 or 1,000 women veteran right here that are saying if you don't vote positively for that, you're running for office next term. And so you don't want me to get out in front of everybody and tell everybody that you're not supporting veteran like you say you are. And that changes the whole trajectory of the conversation. So if I could, I just want to thank you for the work that you've done. You know I've supported, I've stood in line, I've fought to get these positions, asked questions and made sure that we understood, how they were going to be appropriately funded, because that's another thing. If you don't ask for funding, they'll give you a bill and they'll say, yay, we did it, but then there's no money to support it. So make sure that it's appropriately funded. And I am a resource. You may not know me. I change my hair a lot, so I could be look like a different person than what you know I am. See me before, but I'm Bridget McCoy. I just want to say I am a resource. If you're interested in getting into legislative movements, finding out about running for office, Vote, Run, Lead is a great organization. Anything legislative, anything supporting women veteran on multiple planes, entrepreneurship, running for office, being in business, going back to school as I am doing now. Just want to thank you for all that you're doing in the community and making sure that we're properly informed and that we have opportunities like this. Thank you again, AARP, for this.
Thank you,
Bridget.
thank you, thank you. Thank you all for the wonderful questions and the engagement. I want to ask Jill Hines to join me here at the stage as we thank Commissioner Ross for her time, her energy. We have a little token of appreciation for you.